Hi, my name's Emily,
My name's Sarah.
My name's Dylan.
and today we're talking to you about why the legal drinking age in the United States is 21.
I'm explaining the legal process of how the legal drinking age law was formed.
I'm explaining the scientific evidence to back the theory of why the law was formed.
And I'll be comparing the United States with different countries around the world and their drinking ages.
How did the law of legal drinking age come about? According to youthrights.org, from the end of Prohibition until 1984, drinking ages were determined by the states. Many of them had the law at the age of 21, while several lowered them to the age of 18. This was changed due to the baby boom generation and the Vietnam War. From 1970 through 1975, nearly all states lowered their legal ages of adulthood from 21 to 18 because if people were required to fight and die in a war, they should be allowed to drink alcohol. Then the modern prohibitionist movement, led by Candy Lightner, the founder and then president, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and gained momentum after the war. The late 70s and late 80s were marked with an excess of highly publicized studies that claimed teenage alcohol was out of control. This produced an environment for the anti-youth and anti-alcohol legislation and became the National Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984. Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984 required all states to raise their minimum drinking age to the age of 21. Within 2 years, or lose a portion of the federal aid highway funds. The bill was passed with the help of Ronald Reagan, who changed from opposition to support on June 13, 1984. According to 1nhts.gov, the national law requires states to prohibit purchase and public possession of alcohol beverages, but it does not require people under 21 from drinking alcohol beverages. Possession of the following reasons is excluded from the law: an established religious purpose when accompanied by a parent, spouse, or a legal guardian aged 21 or older, medical purposes when prescribed or administered by a licensed physician, pharmacist, dentist, nurse, hospital, or medical institution, in private clubs or establishments, in the course of lawful employment of a duty licensed manufacturer, wholesaler, or retailer. State laws address youth-related violations separately, like sales to minors, prohibits vendors or any other persons from selling, giving, or otherwise providing alcohol to minors. Purchase prohibits or limits minors from obtaining alcohol from vendors or other sources. Possession generally prohibits or limits minors from carrying or handling alcohol. Consumption prohibits or limits minors' drinking of alcohol beverages. Misrepresentation of age provides or penalties against minors who present false identification or otherwise represent themselves as being a legal purchase age. According to Oregon.gov, drinking laws in Oregon, Oregon laws prohibit anyone except a parent or a legal guardian from providing alcohol to a minor or a juvenile. Parents or guardians may legally provide alcohol to their minor child only in private residence when accompanied that minor child. A parent cannot transfer this responsibility to another adult or provide alcohol in public space. If you allow your property and or home to be used for a party where minors and other than your own children can consume alcohol in your presence, you may have to forfeit property and may be issued a criminal citation. Thank you. Now I'm introducing my partner Emily to discuss the scientific evidence of why the drinking age is 21.
So what scientific evidence led to the drinking age being 21? According to NIAAA publications, or the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, states that alcohol consumption during a developmental period may have profound effects on brain structure and function. Heavy drinking has been shown to affect the neuropsychological performance or memory functions of young people. It may impair the growth and integrity of certain brain structures. Alcohol consumption during adolescence may also alter measures of brain functioning such as blood flow in certain brain regions and electrical brain activities. However, not all adolescents and young adults are equally sensitive to the effects of alcohol consumption. Factors such as family history of alcoholism and drug use disorders, gender, age of onset drinking, drinking patterns, use of other drugs, and co-occurring psychiatric disorders may influence the extent to which alcohol consumption interferes with an adolescent's normal brain development and functioning. Animal studies have demonstrated that alcohol exposure during adolescence and young adulthood can significantly interfere with animals' normal brain development and functions. Young adulthood is a period when most people make critical educational, occupational, and social decisions, and impaired cognitive functioning at this time could substantially affect these decisions. One aspect of brain functioning that is commonly studied in youths as well as older adults is neuropsychological performance. Now, neuropsychological performance includes memory functioning, attention, visual spatial skills, and executive functioning, such as planning or abstract reasoning, and goal-directed behavior. The term neuropsychological performance refers to performances on standardized tests of thinking and memory skills. Several studies have suggested that heavy alcohol used in young people appears to be associated with potentially long-term deterioration effects on neuropsychological functions. Brown and colleagues in 2000 studied 13 alcohol-dependent adolescents aged 15-16 who were in treatment for dependent on alcoholism, but not on other drugs. These teens had used alcohol an average of 753 times in their lives. A control group of 24 who had no history of alcohol and other drug problems were matched with the alcohol-dependent adolescents on age, gender, socioeconomic status, education, and family history of alcohol problems. Both groups of participants were given neuropsychological tests after 3 weeks of abstinence. The investigators found that the alcohol-dependent adolescents performed worse on tests of verbal and nonverbal memory than the control adolescents. They also found that alcohol-dependent adolescents who reported a greater number of alcohol withdrawal symptoms demonstrated poorer visuospatial functioning. Effects of brain formation in adolescent drinking, for example, the hippocampus, which lies deep within the cerebral hemisphere, plays an important role in learning and memory formation. Heavy drinking during adolescence can tend to reduce the hippocampus volume, allowing less memory. Although heavy drinking adolescents can impair brain functioning, and not all young people who drink heavily or become alcohol dependent will experience the same level of impairment, and some may show no damage at all. The variability in the effects of heavy alcohol consumption attributes to, at least in part, a large number of moderating factors, such as genetic influences. According to OmniYouthBlog.net, one of the most prominent reasons for the drinking age is the detrimental effects alcohol can have on the brain and healthy development. Though 18-year-olds are traditionally considered adults, research shows that the human brain continues to grow until a person's mid-20s. According to CDC, or Center for Disease Control, excessive drinking contributes to more than 4,300 deaths among people below the age of 21 in the U.S. each year. Underage drinking cost the U.S. economy $24 billion in 2010. There were about 189,000 emergency department visits by people under age 21 for injuries and other conditions linked to alcohol in 2010. Drinking below the age of 21 is strongly linked to death from alcohol poisoning, unintentional injuries such as car crashes, falls, burns, and drowning, suicide and violence such as fighting and sexual assault, changes in brain development, school performance problems such as higher absentee and poor failing grades, alcohol dependence later in life, other risk behaviors such as smoking, abuse of other drugs, and risky sexual behaviors. Lastly, drunk driving and other accidents caused by underage drinking is a huge problem. Not saying only underage drinking creates accidents, but there is evidence that is directly correlated with the two. From 1HNMA.gov, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, estimates the minimum drinking age laws have saved 18,220 lives of all ages since 1975. In 1998 alone, those laws saved 861 lives. In 1998, 42% of 18 to 20-year-old crash fatalities were alcohol-related. Thank you. And today I'm going to introduce my partner Sarah to talk about the difference between the United States and other countries versus the legal drinking age. Thank you.
So how does the United States legal drinking age compare to the rest of the world? According to the World Health Organization, the average minimum drinking age around the globe is 15.9 years old. The majority of countries have established the drinking age at 18 years old, making the United States a minority in its decision to keep the drinking age at 21. There are 50 countries that have determined the minimum drinking age as lower than 18. And according to the World Health Organization, the United States is among only 12 countries in the world that have chosen 21 as their minimum legal drinking age. Of 190 countries, 61% have a drinking age of 18 or 19 years old. The highest drinking ages in the world have been set as high as 25 to 30 years old in some areas of India. In other countries, alcohol has been banned altogether. These are 16 Muslim countries that have banned them for religious reasons. There are 2 countries in the Central African Republic that have determined that the minimal drinking age should be as low as 10 to 15 years old. So what is the major difference between the United States and these other countries? Well, the majority of these countries use public transportation rather than personal vehicles for travel. Also, several of these countries made their decisions based on their country's religious beliefs and government process. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our speech.